To the UK News today. Today we news that patient found dead in hospital toilet 3 days after leaving ward to go for a cigarette. Jonathan Earp, 32, had been admitted to Gloucestershire Royal Hospital with suspected deep vein thrombosis and a blood clot on the lung. Patient was found dead in hospital toilet 3 days after leaving his ward to go for a cigarette and request her today. Jonathan Earp, 32, had been admitted to Gloucestershire Royal Hospital with suspected deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism. At a pre-inquest hearing today, Assistant Coroner Caroline Saunders said Mr Earp was known to leave the ward to have a cigarette. The Gloucestershire Leaf reported that his body was found to have non-prescription drugs in his system. The inquest was told. It heard how on July 7, Mr Earp expressed a wish to discharge himself, and a medical assessment confirmed he had the mental capacity to make his own decision. Mr Earp, however, stayed in the ward and later on that day left for a cigarette but did not return, the coroner said. Police and site management were alerted, but Mr Earp was not found until July 10 in disabled toilet in the hospital, she said. The request heard that a post-mortem found that a number of drugs were in his system. Not all prescribed, but further evidence is to be collected on this. An inquest into his death will be held next spring, coroner ruled today. It focused on what happened between the time he left his ward in Gloucestershire Royal Hospital on July 7 this year and when he was found dead in the disabled toilet in the building on July 10. A post-mortem found that a number of drugs were in his system, not all prescribed, but further evidence about that is to be collected for the inquest to be concluded between next March and May, and Mr Saunders said. Mr Earp's family has highlighted some concern about the access Mr Earp had to medication, she said. The family is also concerned about his capacity to make decisions, the ability of staff to make patients stay if they want to leave, and protocol followed when the patients do leave the ward. At earlier hearing, the coroner has been told that Mr. had to be identified by hospital bracelet and by his destitute tattoos. Gloucestershire police have ruled out foul play but have refreshed themselves to the Independent Police Complaints Commission because they had received a call expressing concern for Mr. Earp's welfare after he disappeared on July 7. Mr. Gloucestershire Hospital NHS Foundation Trust he also carried out his own internal investigation into why Mr. Earp's body was not found sooner. Coroner's official Tory Amiens has stated at about 10:50 p.m. on July 7, he told the staff on his word that he was going out for a cigarette. Sadly, he did not return. Hospital staff raised alarm and reported the matter to the police. At 8:30 a.m. on July 10, hospital staff found his body in a public disabled toilet near the entrance to the tower block. The body was then brought to the mortuary and the coroner's court. By the way of history, he was suffering from drug dependency and had been on numerous medications including Suboxone, Zabispan, and Methadone, and other prescribed drugs as well as pictures. Thank you very much for listening to the UK News. I hope you enjoyed this news. Please subscribe to the channel to get more. Thank you.